1 Timothy chapter 6, verse number 10, it tells us, for the love of money is the root of all evil, which while were converted after they have erred for their faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. Today, I just want to talk to you briefly from a subject called greed. And I want to talk to you about three simple points about greed. The first point that I want to deal with is the danger of the pursuit of money. The first observation we make from this passage is, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. The word for it ties back to verse 9. This tells us what happens to a person who wants to be rich. Back in verse 9, the word want means to desire, something which one has in mind to acquire. Wanting to be wealthy is not the problem. Doing well is not the problem. And money is not the problem. The problem comes when our wants is so unhealthy. We will be tempted to do things that we should not do to gain what we think we want. We can easily be snared into doing things we usually would not do. Riches can be a source for good. It does take money to do things, but the unhealthy desire for riches is what Paul is referring to in this context. It said it is the love of money, not the possession of it, but the love of money that leads to other evil and lead one down the path of temptation. We have to understand that money is not, nor is it the root of all evil. Money is simply a medium of exchange, and it is very necessary. So the Bible tells us much of the evil we deal with ties into the unhealthy desire to possess it more and more. So history is filled with examples of this principle. So the danger of loving money is that we are playing with fire. Our verse tells us that money is the root of all evil. The Greek philosopher said this: the love of money is the home for all evil things. Now, if we look back at the passage again, it says, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, and by craving it, some have wandered away from their faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. So number one, we see the danger. But number two, we need to look at the dilemma of the pursuit of money. See, we got to understand that there is a consequences for loving money. And by craving it, some have wandered away from their faith. Jesus talks about this in Matthew chapter 6, verse 24. He said, no one can serve two masters, since either he will hate one and love the other, or he will be devoted to one and despising the other. What you're saying is you cannot serve both God and money. The word craving here translates to a particular form of the verb that pertains to eagerly desiring to achieve a goal or purpose, hence to strive to obtain or to aspire to eagerly long for. So when we crave something, watch this, we will do what we need to do, sacrifice what we need to sacrifice in order to get what we want. So when we talk about wander away translates to this. That means that I'm stop believing in something true and start believing in something false. Hence to go astray from the truth. Now, the word wanted denotes someone who was led away, is a passive verb that was used to describe the movement of the planet. So watch this. A person is observed with riches has lost their barons, and they wandered around from scene to scene, hoping to get their beloved riches. They became helpless victims in the grip of depression. So when one gets observed, they set aside all things that they want. So that is the dilemma. Jesus is not against money. He is not against working hard to better your situation in life. The problem is when we crave it so bad, we forget even our faith in the pursuit of wealth. Now, to wander away from the faith is to cease to be a Christian. Stop believing and trusting in Christ. So we got to understand a Christian with character will put God first. They will work hard and trust God for his provisions. Point number one was the danger. Point number two was the dilemma. And lastly, point number three, the consequences of the pursuit of money. Sometimes you do not get what you think you were getting. Instead of joy, one thought they would receive. Instead, they receive piercings with many griefs. Verse 10 tells us this in the second part. He said, from the faith, you wandered away from your faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. The word pierce is only used in this verse in the New Testament. The word was used of meat that was pierced through the end to end by the split when it was roasted. The context of this word gives us the idea of being pierced everywhere, much more than one time. What are we pierced through with? Many griefs. They have pierced themselves with many griefs. They can be understood as a result not only for their craving for money, but also from their wandering away from their faith. We got to understand seeking faith, seeking wealth. They have forsaken their peace of mind, lost friends, and alienated from family members, destroying their own character and wandered away from their faith. Imagine living life, getting to the end and realize that what you sold yourself out for was not worth it. What price are we willing to pay to pursue riches? This is what Mark 8:36 say as I close. For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? For what can a man give in return for his soul? Wealth and money are issues. The issues is putting the pursuit of such above your pursuit of God. If wealth was a problem, he would not bless us. He wouldn't bless us with material things. If God bless us with material things, we have the obligation to be a good manager of what God has blessed us with. We need to realize where our blessings come from. So on today, don't allow yourself to get caught up with greed. Don't allow yourself to pursue money. The Bible says the love of money is the pursuit of all evil. May God bless you. May he sanctify you. And I pray that this message help somebody.